I'm Scott Summer. I've been practicing holistic medicine for more than 20 years. Our philosophy with this podcast is combining ancient wisdom with modern research to help you protect and heal your family so you can thrive in today's world and the challenges that we're faced with on a daily basis. Aloha, everyone. This is Scott Summer, a holistic healer. So today we're going to talk about one of my most favorite topics, which is cellular health. And so when you think about it, cellular health is really defined as how healthy you are on the inside. So if you were to look at the cells of your body, if you break them down to the smallest potential or smallest segment, it would be an atom or a cell. And so each one of our cells is different. We have different cells in our heart, our brain, and even our intestines. But for the most part, there are only so many different types of cells, and there are many cells that are duplicates. For instance, the same kind of cells that are in our skin are the same type of cells that are in our gut, and we call that epithelial tissue. So that's one example. And neurological cells or nerves are different. You know, when we have pain or sensation, and brain cells are different than heart cells. So let's dive into this and understand that cellular health is manifest in different symptoms outside of our body and also inside of our body as well. So we can do some different testing and different observation that I'm going to teach you, which will better understand how you can understand how well you're doing inside your body, because the health of your cells is the foundation of your body. So, we know that, for instance, the foundation of a building, if you had the tallest building in the world as an example, and then you had a weak foundation, we would know that that would not be a good design. And that if the foundation was weak, whenever there was an earthquake or anything were to happen, the building would just collapse. And that's the way it is with our bodies. Our bodies literally collapse into disease when we don't understand our cellular health. So let's break down let's go back down into the cells. We're going to take a journey into the body and better understand how this works. So in an Eastern perspective, because I'm trained both in Eastern and Western medicine, we could say that Eastern medicine says that they work off of observation. So traditionally, Eastern medicine was developed because an emperor wanted to live forever. And so these Asian medical doctors would work with the emperor and his wife to keep them healthy as possible. And that was their job as herbalists, as physicians. And so they developed this medicine through observation. So they would observe the skin color, the smell, all the senses. And so over time, the first thing that we observe in Asian medicine and being a medical detective, which is what I want to teach you, is how to be a medical detective, is starting with the skin. So we know that, if somebody is aging faster than they should, they look older. So I remember this experience, for instance, of aging faster, which would be somebody using drugs. So I remember dealing with drug detox, and that's where I started my practice as an Asian medical professional. I started out dealing with detox programs that I designed for people that were getting off of drugs, and it was assigned through the state. So we had this drug detox program where they would come and they do protein powders and shakes that I would design. And then they would sit down for some acupuncture, which would help calm their nervous system down, help them heal. And then we would teach them some lifestyle changes, how to cook better, how to eat better. But one of the things we noticed was their cellular health was terrible. And the way I could tell that is they were missing their teeth because the drugs were aging their bodies and their cells at a rapid rate. So we can almost see cellular health as anti-aging. So when somebody has a healthy cellular or healthy metabolism, if you will, we could say that they look healthy. They look younger than their years. They look healthy, vital, and alive. And the first thing that shows up on the outside is our skin. So that's one thing to be aware of. And then going back to the story of the drug addicts, they would, as they were getting off the drugs, they had a lot of digestive problems, which wasn't good. They had really old skin. They looked like they were 20 years older. Their mental status was very declined. They had memory problems. They couldn't remember a lot of things. So it affected their memory, their focus. They couldn't focus on and reading a book. And they just were aging drastically. And their hair would show up as a problem, like they were losing their hair. Their hair looked dry and aged, as if they were, traveling the desert for hours and days on end without food or water. That's the best way to describe somebody that's really aging faster at a cellular level. So let's dive into skin for a minute. So, our skin should be supple and moist. We shouldn't have to put on like all kinds of lotions and also even deodorant. The odor, the body odor indicates like if we have a lot of body odor, a lot of dry, wrinkly skin, and a lot of age spots. And if we do a skin test, which I will show you later, we can tell how dehydrated somebody is by testing their skin, pulling on their skin and seeing if it snaps back like a rubber band or not. And so these are some demonstrations I'll show you later. So with that said, the skin is a really big indicator as to how healthy somebody is. So whether it be age spots on the face or wrinkles or crow's feet around the eyes, which indicates more of a digestive problem like gallbladder and liver. This is the first place we start understanding the age of a person. So we know that we have a biological age and then we have a physiological age. We always want to make sure that we feel younger and look younger than our years, which is a sign of a healthy cellular metabolism. The second area that I'd like to focus on would be your eyes. So we know that the eyes should look clear and sparkly, where they have vitality in them. And they're really an indicator as to how healthy our lymphatic system is, because our eyeballs are just like balls of fluid. And when the eyes get congested from the wrong foods that we're eating, lack of exercise, then they look kind of dull and we can't see very well. So how well we can see and visualize things with our eyes and what they look like, whether or not they're red and inflamed, really indicate inflammation on a cellular level. So these are really important. If we have dry eyes, that's a bad sign of lack of fluid in our eyes. And if we can't see very well, like macular, glaucoma, all these are signs of deep cellular damage. The next area we want to focus on is nails. So nails are so interesting, right? Because there's, skin, hair, and nails, they keep growing. Those are the three things that keep growing in our bodies, no matter even over the age of 25. And they really represent the nutrition of our bodies. If we have the right amount of nutrition and good metabolism, good thyroid, we have healthy nails. They look smooth looking. They have no ridges. They have moons. We look for the moons of a healthy person. Has these moons at the cuticle. They're just the white moons. They look like a little moon, like a moon in the sky during the night. And so that's really important to have smooth nails. They should grow fairly rapidly, which is a sign of good health and vitality. Should have to cut them often, at least every 1 to 2 weeks. And they shouldn't have any fungus. So, fungus on our toenails especially is a sure sign of cellular toxicity or yeast inside the body. So that's very dangerous because, each nail also represents an organ system in the body in Asian medicine, literally. Pinky is kind of associated with the heart and digestion. And the index finger nail is indicated with the immune system and the colon. And then the thumb is actually, the nail is associated with the condition of the lungs and whatnot. So all these things are important. So if you have toenail fungus on your right big toe, that can indicate a liver problem, because in Asian medicine we say that that toe nail is associated with the liver and digestion as well. So the last thing that the nails tell us is the condition of our blood. So we know that if we have healthy blood, we have healthy cells, meaning red blood cells, white blood cells for protection, and the right amount of plasma and nutrients and minerals in our blood, as well as oxygen, which we'll get to in a minute. But if you, basically there's tests that you can do to see how pale your nails are. They should be pale when you push on them, push down on them towards the bed. And that's another test I will show you. And then they should pop back with pink, red color, which is a sign of good blood. Otherwise, people are anemic, and you can tell that in their nails. So let's jump right into the tongue. Tongue is used always in Asian medicine as a big factor for how the quality of blood, which is cellular. We also look at the quality of cellular digestion. Are we digesting and absorbing our food, or is it just stagnant and stuck in our bodies? So we can tell by the coating on the tongue. And so if it's a thick coating, if it's thick yellow, that's a sign of heat in the body and infection. And where the coating is located, like if it's back of the tongue in the back towards towards your tonsils, that's an indicator of colon health problems. If it's in the middle of the tongue, it's more like stomach problems. And if it's on the side of the tongue, like cracks or coating or tenderness, it looks like the tongue looks tender. It's all an indicator of what's going on with the body. And so the sides of the tongue have to do with the liver for sure. So with all these things combined, we want to look for, more cracks and coating and color. We don't want the tongue to be super pale looking. We don't want it to be super red color as well, because all of these things are extreme heat in the body when it's red, and extreme pale is an indicator of anemia, which is a lack of cellular blood, if you will, and oxygen. So the other part of the tongue, the last part, is to just flip your tongue up and to look at the underside of your tongue, and you'll notice that there are two veins. Now these two veins should look like, a normal slightly blue color is normal, but if it looks like purplish, it's a sign of a lack of circulation, that you lack circulation and blood flow in your body. And so these veins are literally like an oil dipstick to a car. It can literally tell you a lot about your body. So start looking like as a medical detective. Start looking at your body and looking at some of these signs of cellular aging. And nobody wants to look older than their years. And so this is your opportunity to find out where your body's aging the fastest, how to reverse this condition, if you will, and how to feel and look younger than your years. Because this is, you only get one life to live, and this is it. So let's move forward to other conditions like your hair. So we know that unfortunately men have a tendency to lose their hair, but women do too as we age. So if we lose patching type hair loss, that's not good. It's a sign of nutritional deficiencies. Sometimes it's a sign of parasites on the cellular level. And depending upon where you lose your hair and the quality of your hair, if it's dry, there's a lack of oil and moisture inside the body, because we know that anything that happens on the inside shows up on the outside. In fact, there's a saying in homeopathic medicine that we say we heal from the top down and the inside out. And so that's true. That's a form of how we heal, a sequence. And so with that said, it's really important to be aware of your hair, that it should be moist. You shouldn't need like gallons of shampoo or conditioner rather to keep it moist. And your skin should be the same. It should say supple. And these are also signs of drinking enough water, hydration on a cellular level. And also, when our Hair turns gray at an early age. That's also a sign of cellular aging as well. And also losing our eyebrows. We know that the condition of our eyebrows represents our thyroid as well as our hair. And so it's important to check into those things to know whether or not you're healthy and alive by whether or not you have eyebrows all the way across your eyes and over your eyes. And whether or not, the other factor would be body temperature. Can you regulate your body temperature at a cellular level? Because, all the hormones in your body regulate your cells so that they can create heat if you're cold and they can cool you off if you're hot. So cellular metabolism or temperature control is also a cellular factor that we need to consider, of being a healthy person, a person that doesn't get too hot or too cold, but can adjust to their environment for sure. So the other thing that really represents cellular health, I would say, would be energy control. So we should have, steady energy. We should wake up with energy, have energy after, food should give us energy. We should feel alive and vibrant. We should be able to exercise and have energy to do so. And this is another factor of cellular health. And there's some pupillary tests where we can test our pupils with shining a light. We can be in a dark room and shine a light, not a laser, but a light in your eyes. And I'll show you those tests as well. And that can really help quickly determine the response of the pupil to the light, whether or not you have healthy adrenal glands or cellular energy, and which is connected to your mitochondria, which is something we'll talk about later. And so we know that if we have good energy, we have good cellular health and good mitochondrial energy, which affects every single cell in our body. And the other factors are hormone balance and mood. We know that when we have healthy hormones, we have healthy mood. And so that's also a big factor as well. And so remember that as a factor of health. And then the last two are oxygen. So oxygen is something that we should test. You can very easily test your oxygen. We know that our oxygen level should be 97% and above. And the more we exercise, the deeper we breathe, the more yoga and meditation we do, and just relaxation, the more oxygen we have in our bodies. And oxygen is one of the greatest factors against aging and against cancer. So like, who wants cancer, right? And unfortunately, it's one of the most predominant problems that we have in this country still is heart disease and cancer. And they're still the number one killers, even beyond infection. We think of all the different viruses that are going around in the world today, and it just seems like the scariest thing in the world. But the truth is you should be scared of cancer and heart disease even more so, and as well as diabetes. Those are the three things that are really big factors. So then the second to last factor is hydration. So I can tell you a story of somebody that we don't even realize how hydration or dehydration can affect our health. But I had this patient in his 70s, and he overcame, he had heart disease and did drugs for many years, like over 50 years. And so he just really beat up his body. And so unfortunately, one of the symptoms he had was that he was almost unconscious on his bed. One time he was found by his friends and family, and they were very concerned about him. They went to go look for him and found him in his bed, and he was delusional. He had memory problems. He was fatigued, and he just couldn't get out of bed. So they rushed him to the hospital. They ran all of these blood tests and extensive testing, MRI, CT scans, if you can imagine, and they didn't find anything. They actually told him to go home and rest and that he would be fine. And they had no idea why he had memory problems, why he's confused. And sure enough, I tested him the next day, and I determined that he was dehydrated. I did a skin test, which was where you pull the skin up on the arm of the hand, and the skin should snap back like a rubber band if you have enough hydration in your body. And sure enough, he was extremely dehydrated. He was an athlete. He loved to exercise outside. And it was in the middle of Sacramento summers, which are well over 100 degrees. And I asked him, I said, so how much water do you actually drink? And he said, well, probably one of those bottles over there, maybe one or two. And what he pointed to was a pint. And so that means that he was only drinking 3 to 4 cups of water a day. Can you imagine? So we could see how that dehydration was affecting his memory, his energy, his focus, and his ability to thrive and survive. So on a cellular level, he was dehydrated, and it was affecting all of these systems of his body. And he was aging at a rapid rate without that hydration in his body. It was even affecting his brain. So then the last thing I want to talk about is, on this observational note, is circulation. So we know that circulation is something in Chinese medicine that we say, or Asian medicine, where we say that we're kind of born almost like a rushing river. Everything's flowing freely. Just imagine there's low to no blockage in the river, which is like our blood vessels when we're an infant, when we're born. All this blood flow, we're supple, we have good pink color, and that's the way it should be. Well, unfortunately, as we age, I call it the frozen effect. We become frozen. And what that means is we start to develop these vein problems and stenosis, meaning we have blockage of the arteries and veins. And you need to be an observer of this, of your own body, about poor circulation. So that would be one sign of feeling cold hands and feet, having to sleep with multiple blankets at night, and just feeling extremely tired. And then the other thing is to consider that if you just can't seem to get going in the day, and you're extremely tired, and you don't get awake in the morning, you don't wake up in the morning unless you start exercising or start moving, that's a sign of poor circulation, as well as poor sleep patterns, like you're restless at night. So you're moving, like restless leg syndrome is all a circulation problem at a cellular level. And the last one is spider veins and varicose veins in your legs and ankles, especially right around your ankles. If you don't have any other signs of varicose veins, start looking around your ankles. That's a sure sign of vascular problems or vein problems. And this is a big, big issue. So another aspect of cellular health shows up in blood work. Now, one of the things that I talk about often is that we can't rely on blood work alone to understand the human body. Unfortunately, blood work has been around for centuries, actually since about 1550. We have discovered the blood and analyzing the blood under a microscope. So it can be very helpful for cellular health. So one of the things that I recommend is to getting some blood work at least once a year. An annual blood panel will help you understand what's going on with your body. And there are certain blood panels that are most helpful. And one of them is the thyroid panel, which determines, because a lot of people nowadays have Hashimoto's or autoimmune disease. So you need to make sure you fully test your thyroid and every aspect of your thyroid. Number 2 is you want to know how your blood sugars are doing, because blood sugars create diabetes problems, and that can greatly age your body, including losing your eyesight, going blind, and losing your limbs. So it also creates heart disease. And so this is called the A1C, as well as the glucose meter. So you want to test your blood sugar fasting, and your A1C is a 3-month average of how your blood sugar is over the last 3 months. So that's very important too. The other thing is vitamin D levels should be between 55 and 75. And most people, believe it or not, go to their doctors and it's right around 30. So that's like trying to drive around town on an empty tank of gas. So that's really important to correct. So these are very, very important factors for immune system. Vitamin D controls over 50 different functions in the body and prevents 50 different diseases, including multiple types of cancer. So you want to make sure that that level is at a good level, because cellular health is dependent upon nutrition and food and exercise, like we talked about earlier with oxygen and hydration. And so all these are basic components of the foundation of your building or your body. And the other factors would be a liver panel. So we want to know how well your liver and your kidney are working. Electrolytes are important. Sometimes people have AFib or tachycardia of their heart based on a lack of potassium, sodium, and electrolytes. And the last thing is inflammation. So we talked about earlier about inflammation in the eye showing up in the sclera, the white portion of the eyes. But we also know that a C-reactive protein or a SED rate are two ways that we can see how much inflammation is going on in the body. And the other thing is a homocysteine level, which is a factor for inflammation of the heart. So all of these different types of blood tests I recommend. And for men, it's a good idea to test your PSA. For your prostate, it should be less than 5 on average based on your age, less than 3 ideally. And for women, there's also other cancer markers that are really helpful as well, which you can determine whether or not you're developing cancer or if you have cancer. So remember, blood work is another big factor to understand what's going on, and why you have some of these other symptoms. So not too long ago, I had a patient who's about in her mid-60s, and she had heart problems. And so one of the heart problems she had was she had circulation problems, obviously, with the heart. And so she was getting tested with radioactive isotope, which is how they test your heart in this case, with an MRI and contrast. So they injected her body with radiation. And then all of a sudden, like within less than a week, she started to lose her hair. And so this is an example of how radioactivity or radiation poisoning can lead to hair loss. And we see that, so that was just kind of a small example. Of course, a bigger example is people getting chemo as a chemical on a cellular level and radiation treatment can greatly, people tend to lose their hair. And so this is how things from the inside can affect the outside. So how toxic you are on the inside can greatly affect the outside of the body. And it's important to be aware of this because there are multiple reasons why people can lose their hair. So let's compare for a minute the difference between, you go to your MD, which I recommend, getting your physical every year. That's important. And your doctor will run a blood test and look at the basic values. Unfortunately, they won't always run the most important values. Like they don't always run the full panel for your thyroid because basically whenever they run a panel for the blood, they're looking for an imbalance in the body and the blood work, which leads to a drug, which they will give you to help correct the problem or manage the problem is a better term. So in Eastern medicine, it's different because we're really looking at the systems of the body. So we know that, for instance, if somebody has acne on their back, the location of the acne is important. That indicates a certain organ system. Dryness of the skin indicates, a lack of yin deficiency, which is a lack of moisture and hormones. Hot flashes happening at night versus during the day, or losing your energy after a meal can indicate cellular digestive problems. So we're really looking at systems of the body and how they're affected by the outward appearance of the skin, hair, nails, and oxygen and hydration of the body, which is a much different approach. And then the other part is that Western doctors will not always run these tests like oxygen unless you're in an emergency crisis, say in the hospital with COVID or some other kind of disease or pneumonia. So it's important to realize that, you have to be your own advocate. You have to be your own medical detective and become more into observation. Like, why does my tongue look purple? Why do I have such a coating on my tongue from last night's meal? And why am I so tired after lunch? All of these are big factors. Why are my pupils so dilated and large, And so that seems so strange. And so we have to be more into observation and realize that not everything really should be tied to a drug or a surgery. And that we should think more to ourselves like, wow, my body is not doing well here. There's something wrong. And what does this mean? So you want to look more for the definition of why you have these symptoms and how the symptoms are connected to an organ system, including emotions, physical environment, your food, your nutrition, your supplements that you take, the amount of sleep and lifestyle. All of these are factors that you should be observing, which aren't necessarily related to a drug or a surgery. So over the years, I've observed hundreds and hundreds of tongues. And one of the things that I see common in women, especially going through menopause and hot flashes, that's one of the biggest, chief complaints for women after they go through menopause are these terrible hot flashes. And so I had a patient not too long ago that I looked at her tongue and she had extreme hot flashes day and night, and she was just beside herself. And sure enough, she had this red, dry, deep red, crimson colored tongue, which was dry, very little coating, and just looked like almost brittle. You can almost call it a brittle tongue. And so what I explained to her was that her hormones were so deficient that they were leading to this dryness in her body. And it's almost like a dry heat, right? I mean, you think of when something dries out, like in a desert, in this case, a human body lacking hormones, that everything gets dry, including your tongue, and it affects the rest of your body. And so that was what was happening for her. And so as we corrected her hormone balance and got the hot flashes to go away, it really had to do with the hormones. When they got back into balance, they helped to change the color of the tongue, which was a symptom of a cellular problem of hormone deficiency. So I hope you learned something today. And to summarize, I would say that, we really all need to become observers, a medical detective, if you will, of your own body. You need to start asking questions, about your energy, your skin. When something pops up, for instance, I remember not too long ago, a patient that just had all of these skin tags that were just popping up all over his face. And he didn't understand why that was happening. And I explained to him that it's because you have inflammation inside your body that's reflecting outside your skin. So look for these key markers on these key areas we talked about: oxygen, hydration, your skin, your nails, your energy, your eyes, your tongue, and your sleep, and your mood, as well as mental clarity. Because all of these indicate how fast and how rapidly your body is aging. Now, something that's obvious is that if you have a car, which most of us drive cars, and you start to observe your car and you look at the tires and you realize that the back tires are kind of balding, like they're missing tread, then that could be dangerous if you try to drive in the winter and slick roads, that you could actually crash the car. And so, but if you didn't pay attention to your car and look at the tires, or see if there were some changes in the car itself, that this could be a big factor for something that could be coming further down the road that could be a dangerous situation. So I encourage you to be aware, open your eyes further, observe, walk around the car, walk around your body, and don't hesitate to observe yourself. After taking a shower, observe your body, observe the changes that go on in your body as you age, and be aware that every new symptom that's positive or negative is a change. And these changes happen from the inside out, top, bottom. And so you have to be aware in order to prevent disease or reverse it. You have to understand where it's coming from, which is from the inside at a cellular level. So make sure your foundation is healthy and strong and alive, and then the rest of your body will be strong and alive as well. So for now, be healthy, be well, and we'll talk soon.